You don't lack discipline. You don't fail because you're lazy. You fail because your identity hasn't been built to support the life you want. Most people focus on habits, routines, or willpower. They buy planners, read self-help books, or watch motivational videos, hoping something will stick. But none of that lasts if your identity isn't aligned with your goals. Today, we're going to uncover the truth about discipline, why most people struggle, and how you can start building an identity that naturally produces the results you want. Think about it. How many times have you tried to just push through and ended up frustrated, tired, or giving up? You're not alone, and it's not your fault. The key is understanding who you are at the core, not just what you do. Here's what usually happens. You wake up motivated, ready to conquer the day. You follow your routine for a few days, maybe a week, and then it collapses. You might say, "I just don't have discipline," or "I keep failing." But that's not the real problem. Here's a story. A friend of mine wanted to start waking up at 5 a.m. to read every morning. For 3 weeks, he tried daily and failed. Every day he told himself, "I'll start tomorrow." Was he lazy? His identity didn't support the behavior. Deep down, he still saw himself as someone who sleeps late and procrastinates. Until he consciously aligned who he was with what he wanted, no habit would stick. Another example. A client of mine wanted to start exercising regularly. She tried different routines, signed up for gyms, and even got a personal trainer. But every week she would skip workouts. Why? Because her identity, the voice in her head saying, "I'm not a consistent person," was in conflict with her goals. Only when she reframed herself as, "I am someone who values movement and takes care of my body daily," did she naturally start going to the gym consistently without forcing herself. Let me ask you, have you ever tried to start a new habit, meditation, journaling, reading, or exercising, only to give up after a few days? If so, it wasn't a lack of discipline. It was a misalignment between your current identity and the life you want to live. Your habits follow your identity, not the other way around. If you see yourself as someone who procrastinates or struggles with consistency, your mind will unconsciously sabotage your actions, no matter how motivated or disciplined you try to be. This is how it works. Identity signals behavior. Your subconscious asks, "Does this action fit who I believe I am?" Conflict creates resistance. When your goals clash with your current identity, your mind produces excuses, doubts, and distractions. False discipline is exhausting. Trying to push past these signals feels like a constant battle. Think about it like this. Your identity is software, and your habits are apps. If the software is broken, the apps won't run properly. You can install all the productivity apps, trackers, and planners, but they won't stick if your inner software isn't built for them. Here's another analogy. Imagine trying to pour water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. You keep pouring, but the water never stays. That's what forcing habits without the right identity feels like. You can push, you can force, but the results will be inconsistent and frustrating. Mini exercise. Close your eyes and think of one habit you've struggled to maintain. Ask yourself, does this habit fit who I currently believe I am? Notice any resistance or excuses that come up naturally. That's your mind signaling identity misalignment. Another example from NLP. Imagine your identity as a movie script, and your mind is the director. If the script says, "I am someone who procrastinates," your subconscious will direct your behavior to match it, even if you consciously want to change. To act differently, you must rewrite the script first.
So how do you fix this? You build your identity first. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What kind of person achieves the goals I want? Which version of myself deserves this life? Once you define that person, your actions naturally follow. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself anymore. It's simply doing what your identity would naturally do. Story example. I once tried learning a musical instrument in a month. I practiced inconsistently and kept quitting. Why? My identity whispered, "You're not the kind of person who sticks with things like this." Once I consciously adopted the identity, I am someone who learns new skills daily. I started practicing consistently, and I actually enjoyed it. Another analogy. Think of identity like planting a tree. Habits are the fruit. You can't harvest fruit from a seedling that hasn't rooted yet. You nurture the roots, your identity, and the fruit, your actions, naturally grows. Mini exercise for this section. Write down 3 behaviors you want to embody. Create 3 I am statements that reflect those behaviors. Example: behavior, exercise daily. I am someone who values and cares for my body daily. Behavior, read daily. I am someone who learns and grows every day. Behavior, journal daily. I am someone who reflects and improves daily. Remember, your brain will begin to align your subconscious with your new identity, making your desired habits automatic over time. You're no longer forcing discipline, you're acting in alignment with who you are becoming. Here's a practical exercise for you right now. Write 1 clear sentence describing the person you want to become. Compare your daily actions with that identity. Where is there misalignment? Pick 1 small action today that proves this identity. Take 30 to 40 seconds to think about it. Maybe even pause the video and write it down. Another reflection. Most people try to improve habits first, running, reading, meditating, without building the internal identity to sustain them. You can force habits, but it will always feel exhausting. Build the identity first, and the habits follow effortlessly. Story/analogy. Imagine you want to run a marathon. You focus on running every day but neglect the mindset that you're a consistent, capable runner. Some days you skip, some days you quit, because your identity doesn't match the goal. But if you start with, I am a disciplined, resilient runner, your body and mind begin to follow. Even small runs reinforce this identity, eventually creating consistency naturally. Pause 5 to 6 seconds, allow reflection. Let's take it a step further. Close your eyes and visualize yourself a month from now, fully embodying your I am statements. Notice how you feel, how you walk, how you make choices. Write down 1 small action today that brings you closer to that version of yourself. Think of this as a mini coaching session with yourself. Doing this daily rewires your mind over time, aligning subconscious behavior with conscious goals. And now, the reflection question for today. Which part of your identity is holding you back? And what is 1 small action you can take today to align with the person you want to become? Write it down, comment below, or journal it. Small, conscious steps, repeated daily, create lasting transformation. Remember, discipline is not about willpower. It's about being the person who naturally acts the way you want to act.